not animals at the zoo. These are various artifacts that have been given to us over the years. And I thought first that we might talk about horns and antlers. People do confuse the two. They don't know the difference between them. Now, this is an antler, Geri. Now, if you notice, it's made from bone. It's very solid. Antlers are dropped periodically by the animal that wears them. Antlers are not used for defense. They're used for fights between conspecifics, between, say, two male deer for dominance. They're not really used for defense against other things. They can, but the reason that they have antlers is simply to be able to fight with another male of their species to show which one is the dominant animal.
Laura, very often I have found in talking to you that this is a prevalent thing among animals like the tarantula, that they fight a lot, and they, like the turkey. You know, I've had people on talking about the turkey, and animals, I don't understand why they had to set it up this way.
Well, if you ever notice that it's usually the males that do the fighting. The females tend to stay in the background, mind their own business, take care of their babies, but it's the males who have this real problem with dominance. So apparently this is the way nature set them up to be. But you find that in
tarantula, she is mean.
Well, the female does, and in some species, the females do protect a little piece of territory, and they can be extremely aggressive, too. But in most species, you're going to find it's the male who is pretty aggressive.
Okay, Laura, before we go into that, we are going to take a break, and we'll be right back after this message. The Montgomery Zoo is our guest today, and Laura Strickland's here, and we're talking about bones. And, you know, we usually have a live animal, but this is just a season of the year, I imagine, when some of them are going to sleep, maybe?
Well, it's the time of the year when we don't really have any young animals being born. And
I see.
Young animals are mostly what we use because they're tractable and they can be handled. It's very difficult to take a full-grown animal out.
I'm glad.
Not done, yes.
Yeah, I'm glad. When you mentioned the lion, I was glad, you know, because I saw that lion.
They
and the lion
really big.
Okay, we were going to look at the, what is that?
But this is a horn. And if you notice, Geri, it is hollow. And a horn is really nothing more than a long fingernail. It's made from the same materials that your fingernails are, which is called keratin. And if you will notice here on Bossy,
here's old Bossy.
Here, if you pick up old Bossy here, this one still has the horn on it. It's attached to a bony part of the head, which is attached to the skull. Not usually. Usually what happens if horns stay on the animal throughout their life, unless they have an accident.
Antlers can fall off.
Antlers are dropped periodically, usually once a year. Horns are not. Horns remain on the animal throughout their life unless they have some type of an accident and get it broken off.
Does he have horns for the same reason, and that's for male dominance, or?
No, males and females in a lot of the bovine species cows both have horns. You'll see a lot of cows in the fields that do not have horns, but these horns have been doctored when the animal was just born. You can put some type of, I can't remember what the name of it is, but you can put it on the little nubs when they start, and it will keep them from growing. And I believe they're called polled cattle when they cut the horns
Why do they do that?
I think it's because it's easier to work around the animal if they don't have the horns, and also if cows get to fighting with each other, they can injure each other with the horns. So it's in the best interest of the cattle farmer to remove the horns from his cattle.
Okay.
Now this is an interesting little creature. Now, this is a beaver skull. And if you'll notice on the back, these are the back teeth, and they're very, very flat. And this is because these animals are gnawers. They chew, and they have to have these broad surfaces to chew up branches and leaves and everything. But in the front, they have 2 solid teeth. And these teeth grow throughout their lifetime. And as they chew on trees and what have you, the tooth is worn down. But they have an extremely long tooth which grows throughout their lifetime.
Is that for real?
This is for real, And the tooth just continues to grow and to grow.
Yeah.
So they never run out of teeth like we do. Their teeth remain. I don't think it's going to
I mean,
go
when he
back
gets
in.
to... Here's one of those real famous questions that people are always telling me, you know, that I ask, real intelligent. But if you don't ask dumb questions, you don't learn anything.
That's right.
Do you mean, does he shorten the tooth? I mean, it just really gets long?
As he chews on branches and trees, it wears down the enamel on the tooth. And as the tooth wears down, it just continues to grow out. So they stay the same size.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, that was what I was confused about. I thought, my gosh, I can see the
No,
zebra.
they wear it down. It just continues to grow as they wear it out.
Got that straight.
We've got that thing. Now, of course, this is a different type of skull altogether. This is the skull of a coyote. If you notice, the teeth are entirely different. This is the teeth of a carnivorous animal, an animal who usually only eats meat. And this is the reason you see the teeth are very sharp. It doesn't have the broad teeth in the back.
I'll stay away from him.
So you can see they're well equipped to eat meat for ripping and tearing.
Yeah, you know, this is not a revelation I just made. Well, it probably is. I'm telling you it's not. I can see why out in the wild they have got to have the teeth like that, because it's the way they eat. I mean, no, I don't mean that's the way they eat. I mean, they've got to catch their food. Right,
and so nature has prepared them to do their job in whatever environment that they are in. Now, this is the skull of a monkey. And she was about 40 years old when she died, which was pretty old for a woolly monkey. And if you notice that she has extremely beautiful teeth still. She's only missing a couple of them. And you can tell these teeth are very, very much like us. This is an animal who is what we would call omnivorous. They eat different types of food. They're not specialized in eating just meat or just wood or grass or what have you. And
so she doesn't have to have great big teeth.
She doesn't need them because she doesn't eat that. She eats a little bit of everything.
Okay.
And then anything in there that you particularly want to look at?
Let me see. There was something there. The bobcat. And also the snapping turtle.
Okay. This is put together. We use this with the first graders that we take through, and sometimes if you don't nail them together, they thoroughly enjoy them. They especially like talking about how teeth are put together in different ways. They are under the assumption that most animals have teeth like they do. And so it's very exciting to them to find out that animals have different kinds of teeth for different kinds of food. So they really enjoy it. And the bobcat, of course, is another carnivorous animal. And as you can see, they're very, very well equipped to rip and to tear and to tear off chunks. They don't chew like we do. They tear off chunks and swallow it that way. They're not really chewers.
Okay. That is a real snapping turtle.
This is an alligator snapping turtle. And if you notice, they have no teeth at all. They have no teeth. They have a real...
Just snap your hand and catch it.
Yes, they have a lot of power in these jaws, and extremely. And they couldn't snap off a finger, but you can see they have no teeth. It's a very rough, bony edge that they have. And they can do an extremely good job.
I didn't know that he didn't have any teeth.
No, they have no teeth. They're like birds. Birds have no teeth either. And this
okay, before we go any further, I'm going to take a break, and we'll be right back after this message. Laura Strickland of the Montgomery Zoo is our guest today, and we're looking at different bones. But we also have something in the box that is a little unusual that I was just asking her about. And you said something kind of funny, that All right, well, let's start. Let's show them first.
Okay.
Okay. Now this is a little embryo of a kangaroo.
Correct.
Wonder at what stage that is.
This was at the stage as it was getting ready to go into the pouch, and for some apparent reason it was unable to make it into the pouch, and so it died.
Oh.
As you can see, it's not any larger than your fingernail. It's very small, and I don't know if it can be picked up on...
We can see it.
Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
And you can see where the little eyes have started, and the little front paws have developed slightly on, just enough to pull it into the pouch.
All right, here I go again. I thought they were born in the pouch.
No, they're not born in the pouch.
They go into the pouch to do what?
Right. They attach themselves to a nipple in the pouch, and there they continue to grow. When they leave the mother's body the first time, they are very, very undeveloped, as you can see. They are unable to survive on their own in any way. So what they do is they crawl into the pouch and they attach themselves to the mother's nipple, which swells up so that the baby cannot lose it. And they stay attached to that nipple for about 6 months until they're old enough to survive on the outside.
Isn't that something?
It's very, very interesting.
Is the kangaroo the only animal that has a pouch?
No, a lot of marsupials, they belong to the marsupial family, and there are a lot of marsupials. As a matter of fact, North America has one marsupial, and that's the opossum. And she has a pouch, and she carries her babies in a pouch.
You talking about the possum in Alabama?
The possum in Alabama.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm really learning a lot. Okay.
This is one of a kangaroo who did make it into the pouch and who remained it there probably a couple months. As you can see the legs are developed.
Here's the little tail.
The tail is developed, the eyes,
Here's
the ears.
The head,
you
the
can
back.
you can see the little tiny hooves, their little feet. But for some reason or other, this animal did not survive in the pouch and fell out.
Fell out?
Fell out or was thrown out by the mother, whichever the case may be. Nobody really knows.
You mean they somehow throw them out?
Well, not deliberately, but of course, if it had died in the pouch, then she would no longer continue to carry it. She cleans her pouch out for the baby, yes. And she keeps her pouch clean.
Okay. Do you have any kangaroos at the zoo?
We have wallaroos and wallabies. They're a small kangaroo. We do not have any of the large gray or red ones. And they're
Well, you
really
know,
nice animals.
I wanted to say to the audience that so many of the children and adults have read about some of these animals, like the camels and the peacocks and the ostrich. Is that right? And you hear about these, but you never see them, and it is so different to see them live.
Isn't it? It makes all the difference in the world, too.
You don't realize their hugeness, like the camel.
To see them on film or in a picture really doesn't do them justice. You can't see their majesty and their beauty. You have to see them live in order to really appreciate what they are.
Plus, the chimps are so much fun.
Oh, aren't they? They're just dolls.
And I would like for the audience to know that anytime there's a camera and a crew around, the chimps know it.
Oh, they are real hams. They know what a camera is, and they thoroughly enjoy it.
Well, thank you very much for being here. When you come back in December, I'm sure we'll be talking about nativity.
We will. We absolutely will.
Have a nice, I'm telling you to have a nice day. I've got to tell the audience to have a nice day. Here's my thought for the day, if I have the time. To be little is to be little. You know, it doesn't take a very big person to belittle somebody, but it takes a big person to make people feel good. Have a nice day.